So guys, before this video starts, I'm going to put a little disclaimer. Several times I'm going to say that you're going to want to save your souls to buy a Crest of Artorias from Andre the Blacksmith, who you met earlier. Ignore it. I remembered a better way to get the 20,000 souls that involves going back to the Undead Asylum, which we were going to do anyway. What you should be doing instead is spending them, because this next fight can be quite hard for the inexperienced player. It's a real clusterfuck. There's one big boss guy, and he has two wolves following him around, so it can be a little difficult. There's a good chance you might get pinned against the wall by one of them, while the rest wail on you, you die, and you find your souls unrecoverable. Because you die, again, maybe even before you can get to them. So instead of doing anything, or instead of saving your souls, just do yourself a favor and spend them now. I would recommend going with Endurance and Vitality, alternating until both reach around 30. Then we'll be working on damage stats. So, enjoy the actual guide, guys. Hey guys, Doogie Fun MD here, and we're continuing with the Dark Souls guide. So, first thing you want to do after you ring the bell is, if you have a Homeward Bone, use it, and you'll go back to your last bonfire you rested at. Just a little handy way to avoid all the backtracking. So, now we're loading. So here's where you wanted to end up when you warped, not down at the Firelink Shrine. So the first thing off is we're going to use... Now we don't have very many souls, so we're going to save those. We're going to save all those souls for later, when we get back here for the second time. Let me move my mouse cursor. When we get back here the second time, we'll be buying the Crest of Artorias from Andre the Blacksmith, which will let us get some cool armor sets that I'm going to show you in the next video, and also have access to certain boss fights and things like that. As well as a very great area for farming souls, if you're looking for one. It's not so necessary to farm souls on your first playthrough, but you might get to a point where it's a huge choke point and you're having an issue, and you might want to be able to do that farming if you choose. So we're going to go through here and kill the boulders. I believe that's what they're called. I don't really know. They drop the boulder items, so I've always assumed that's what they're called. Fireball, hit the bench. And they're both dead. They're kind of hard to fight all at once, so if you have to use your pyromancy, that's quite alright. It should work out pretty effectively for you. And here we go. Stab this guy in the back. Or not. Doesn't really matter. You need the basement key though to move on, so that's why I had to come back here. Oh, the reason that I got motivated to try and finish most of this guide tonight is with the launch of BioShock 2, probably want to do a playthrough of that fairly soon. And I don't want to leave anybody hanging, so I'm definitely going to try and finish this one first. So, go down here. Get attacked by rats. Kill the rats. If humanity drops, grab it. If not, that's alright. The rats are definitely very good for farming humanity, though. There's a spot later in the sewers where there's a shit ton of them that's perfect if you want to use the 30 soul bypass, or 30 humanity bypass in, it's later in the game. It's, I don't know, it's to get to the Bed of Chaos boss fight. I'm not quite sure what that area is called, though. It's all fiery and looks like hell, I guess. I've never been there personally, but I imagine that is generally what people say that it looks like. I've been told to go there a few times, but never personally been there myself. And we'll unlock the basement. This is where your residence key will truly come in handy, by the way. If you don't know how to slide down the ladders yet, you just hold down the B button. It's definitely a good area to do it. Otherwise you take forever to climb down the damn thing. So be careful in this area for bleed effects. There are a shit ton of them. And they drain a large portion of your overall health. And okay, once the little wolves are dead, and we pass a certain area, some bandits will come out. Oh, there's ever been back there? I don't really know. Alright, here's some humanity and some items. To get it though, we'll have to kill these dudes, so get ready, because they have torches. They do a shit ton of damage. They also take a lot though, so. Something that's very helpful here, that I didn't pick up earlier on my playthrough, but I'm going to pick up now, are some like spare homeward bones that you can use to get back to bonfires. What I'm going to do, most likely, is once I reach 20,000 souls, use the bone to get back to the blacksmith, and buy the crest so all my souls are safe. So there's a talisman, a morning star, and 6 homeward bones. There's also some cracked red eye orbs, and I believe, yes, up here there are going to be some Lloyd's talismans in this chest. And 2 of those items, the cracked red eye orb and the Lloyd's talisman, they're used in PvP mostly, and the homeward bone is kind of a PvE item. Well, mostly a PvE item, and then the morning star and the talisman will get you. It's kind of for like priestly type things. Typically see paladins or priest type characters using them. So that's just all for that general area, and I'll meet you guys back in the area with the dogs and the fire torch people. One other note before we move on: this is probably the bonfire you want to save at, because if you do the work that I show you, there will be a secret that you unlock, or a secret little shortcut that you unlock right at that gate. Oh god. And I somehow get away alive. It's a miracle. Alright, I figured now is as good a time as any to share the shortcut. So once you come down from this area with the ladder, you go up here, and then up here, here, and here, and shortcut. If you look out briefly, you'll recognize this as the room near the beginning where you have to run up through it to get to the Taurus Demon. No. Alright, back. I've recovered my souls and my humanity, and we're going to be trying this again. We're just going to pick them off with fireballs from a distance. Seems like a plan. Alright. And you get some twin humanities, which will be quite useful later in the game. Because as I mentioned, we're going to be using the 30 humanity shortcut to get past
please let me out of here.
A lot of
Anybody,
guys for the bit of chaos.
Unlock the door.
And here's where the residence key comes in handy. Use the residence key, and
Brilliant.
you free
Thank
this
you. I am
mage.
Griggs of Vinheim,
His name's
the
Griggs
sorcerer of the
of
school.
Vinheim.
I am much obliged
You just
to
told
your
me that.
service.
Okay, so when you meet him again in Firelink's Shrine, he will be selling you sorceries, and one of which you're going to use very shortly, so... Not in this video, but in the next one. And that always surprises me, but bandits burst out here, so you have to fight them. Or actually, I believe the game classifies them as thieves, because they're wearing the starting thief gear. Yep, Hollow Thief's leg army. They're wearing thief gear, but have bandit knives. I don't get it. Well, the thief also has a bandit's knife. I suppose that's almost interesting. Probably just a translation error since the game was originally Japanese. This is probably one of the best JRPGs I've played in, well, probably ever. Honestly, I've never been really a huge fan. Disgaea was pretty good. I believe that's a Japanese RPG. It's definitely done with like an anime style, but I've never been a huge anime fan. Just not my style. Don't have a huge issue with people that do or anything, just not for me. Alright, so here's the next boss fight. So, we're going to go in and give this guy a stab. Literally. And die instantly. So if you've seen the area where you rescue Griggs, I'm going to show you the first 2 spells you should buy from him.
Oh, hello.
You'll need to agree with, you know, paying him for his materials and whatnot that he uses to teach you. But then you'll want to buy a Great Soul Arrow. And a... where is it? You'll want to get a magic weapon at some point in time. But I don't have enough souls for it, so I'll be getting that portion of it later. That's it for now. Oh, you'll also need to get a... I thought I'd already gotten one, but you'll need to get a Sorcerer's Catalyst from him so that you can actually cast the spells.
Alright. That may...
I'm going to equip that on my main hand so I can keep my Pyromancies on my offhand. And I'd suggest that you do the same. You might want to use both at some point in time. You never really know. So, that's it for this little section on using him. If you have enough souls to get Magic Weapon, the Catalyst, and the Great Soul Arrow, I recommend that you get all 3. But they're all fairly crucial at certain points up ahead. And the Magic Weapon enchant's useful to have at all times, because it always adds more damage to your weapon. So here is going to be my second attempt at the boss. Like I said, I've decided to get all the equipment that I told you guys to get, and I was stupid for not doing it in the first place. Here it is. I'm going to enchant my weapon before I walk in, because there'll be people trying to attack me once I walk through the door. That's something that you always want to remember if you have the enchant magic weapon equipped as one of your attuned spells, and then you'll just traverse the white line and attempt to fight. Okay, so as you can see, it's fairly difficult because of the 2 wolves that will try to pin you up against the wall pretty much. That's where most of the difficulty in this fight comes. If you can kill the wolves and get away, you can do the fight pretty easily. So, I've managed to kill both the wolves, so I'm gonna go down and stab him like in the first fight. Then I'm gonna take a ton of damage. Flask up. Block, because I can hit you. And hit him again. Now this shield is a good physical block, but it doesn't have the poise to handle those large attacks from him. So the big overhand attack is something that you definitely need to dodge. You won't be able to block the full damage of it. I'm going to try to get a fireball on him from up here. See if that can work. It definitely can if you bait him on the stairs like I did. And it's probably something worth attempting. Wait for him to get on the stairs or near the stairs, and then charge up another fireball. One of the big keys to these fights that a lot of new players do incorrectly is a lot of it's about patience. Some of it's about just blowing through their high health pools, like the Ornstein and Smaug fight can be like that. But the Capra Demon is just about pacing yourself and making sure you don't make any mistakes. A lot of its bosses, all the attacks are technically dodgeable. It's just a matter of having the reflexes and sometimes the weight class to be able to perform a dodge on their attacks. So we're going to try and enchant weapon while we're up here and safe from him. So we'll get that bonus magic damage on our weapon. Let's get some quick attacks in. Actually, he takes a ton of damage from the enchant magic weapon. And just finish him off real quick. So overall, he's not too difficult. You can use the trick dropping down on him from the top up there. You can use enchant magic weapon to do a ton of damage to him, and you can use the fireballs if you manage to make it down to him with all your pyromancy casts intact. That's it for this section of the guide, and next we will be doing the depths.